It is discipline. It is work. And it's a labor of love. You know, you love the Word of God, but there is a discipline that comes with it. You know, you just constantly, consciously, not this, but I choose this. And it's, you know, I am resolved. Things that are higher, things that are nobler, these have allured my sight. And so it's just constantly carrying the Bible around, picking it up every time you can, and just plowing and plowing and plowing and searching and studying and meditating. And you know, in some ways it just doesn't do too much good to read fast. You've got to meditate. You've got to deeply meditate. You know, here's Joshua chapter 1, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may, well, how does it go? Study to do all that is written therein, for then you'll make your way prosperous, then you'll have good success. So here's Joshua, you know, I mean, here he is appointed to succeed Moses. He was the one that was had the hands. Moses laid his hands on him. He was anointed with the spirit of wisdom and so on. He was a man who commanded the sun to stand still. There was no day like it before or since. He commanded the Jordan, and the Jordan split. And so Joshua was a mighty man of God. He was one of the two that made it into to see the promised land, you know. And yet, with all of that, here, the Lord was saying to him, Joshua, if you want to see success, you are going to have to meditate on the Word of God and obey the Word of God. And so, meditation, I mean, just like a cow chewing its cud, you've got to take time to be holy. You've got to take time to sit down and meditate on the Word, study the Word, follow the themes, look for a message. You know, C.T. Studd, they say, what are you doing up here at 3 o'clock in the morning? He says, I'm looking for a new command to obey. And so, you know, I like to draw lines in my Bible, you know, take a lead pencil and a ruler. I always carry a little plastic ruler in my Bible, so it's real handy. And, you know, follow the themes. Here, this word is mentioned here, here's this word here, here's this word here, and make connections, you know, connect the dots. And it helps you to remember the themes the next time you go through. And another thing that helps, too, is to just always have a notepad with you, you know, scratch paper, something, and write down every fresh thought. Write it down. You know, if your father entrusted you with a $10 bill, and you would feel ashamed if you had to tell him you lost it. And so here God gives us some precious thoughts, fresh thoughts, thoughts that I can share, thoughts that I can relate, thoughts that might be a seed of a sermon or whatever. And you know, you don't want to lose them. We want to be good stewards of the manifold grace of God, good stewards especially of His thoughts, which are more valuable than silver and gold. And then it helps too to memorize. Now let me back up, you know, on this other thing of taking notes. I found it helpful to, like in the book of Deuteronomy, although I couldn't do it now, but at one time I could, you know, just write down one main theme in chapter 1, the one main, some key thing in each chapter. And so then you can always think, well, yeah, Leviticus 16, the atonement, and Leviticus 13, the leprosy, and 14. And you know, you got something you can remember in each chapter, and it kind of helps you to know that book. And a skeleton, you know, on which you can hang other things. That helps. But it especially helps to memorize the New Testament epistles. When I started out as a Christian, why, you know, I was around some navigators, you know, and you got the topical memory system. But that's the tough way, memorizing one verse here and one verse there. It's much easier, proportionally, relatively speaking, to memorize a whole chapter than it is to memorize one verse here and there. And also it's much easier to memorize the whole book. And you know, you may not be able to, you may get rusty and forget. You know, you can't quote it word perfect after a while unless you're, you know, just faithful to review. But nevertheless, you never forget what's in that chapter. You know that chapter like the back of your hand.